letting go can be one of the most difficult things of all. How do we let go? How do we move on from the past? Because there are things that are going to happen in life that break you down, that kick you, that hurt you, and that cause a sting. And if we hold on to these things, I think all of us inherently know this, if we hold on to these things in the past, we end up realizing how much they control our present, right? And by default, how much creates our future. So how do we let go of the things that hurt us? How do we let go of the things that happened in the past so we can move forward and we could build the type of life we actually want to build? That is what I'm talking about today. And I just posted a little bit earlier. I said, what do you guys want me to talk about? And a lot of people were saying, talk about let go, talk about let go, talk about let go. How do you let go? How do you move on? And I wanted to answer that for you guys today. So letting go was something that I was awful at, terrible at. In fact, most of my life, for the first handful of years that I was doing this, and then all the years before that, up to 21, 22, 23, where I was stuck in so many things that happened in the past, so many events that happened in the past, so many like harborings of bad feelings and bad memories. And I was just haunted truly by things that happened a long time ago. And those things hurt, and those things caused more suffering. And even though they happened in the past, they were still causing a lot of pain in the present, and I just could not let go of these things. By the way, guys, if you're tuning in, please tell me where you're tuning in from around the world. So I couldn't let go of these things. I couldn't free myself from these things, and it caused so much pain, like I was saying. So I really started to take that and make that an intention of how do you actually let go and move forward with life. And I realized that a lot of this has to do with your internal voice, the language that you use, and how you treat yourself. It's inevitable that we are going to make mistakes as human beings. It's just what we do. We make mistakes all the time. And yet, what we end up doing, that negative internal voice, we end up whipping ourselves and beating ourselves up for that. And in that action alone, that severely judgmental voice that we use against ourselves, what ends up happening is that becomes more rooted. We become more stuck because the judgment doesn't allow you to move on. The judgment actually keeps it really real for you. So some people, and I know that I was included in this, can be judging themselves for things that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And the more that you judge yourself for those things, the more you will stay stuck and the more you can't let go because that negative voice is just grasping onto that thing. Okay, you guys feeling me on this? So one of the first things that we actually have to do is make a shift from judgment to compassion. This is a huge step. From judgment to compassion. Compassion is the capacity to be with something, to suffer with something, to feel into something, and not try to change it, fix it, manipulate it, judge it. It's just to be with it. And when we seek wisdom from the things that happened, that's when we give ourselves the capacity to move forward in life. When we seek judgment from the things that happened, whether they happened the way that we wanted them to, the should or should nots, that's when we stay stuck in the past. So if you are looking to let go of something, the huge shift that you need to make is instead of judging yourself or judging others for it, whether anyone's at fault, you now have to accept that it did actually happen and go, well, this is my life now. How do I want to run it? Do I want it to run full of darkness and anger and bitterness, or do I want it to run full of love, compassion, and wisdom? That decision is up to you. And if you can make that decision, if you can sit in a decision where you went, okay, look, this judgment thing really hasn't worked out too well. Like this hatred that I'm holding, that I'm harboring towards this person that did this thing to me, or this mistake that I made and the hatred that I'm harboring towards that ain't really working out so well for me. So I got to try something different. What if instead of hating myself for making a mistake, I actually allow myself to seek wisdom from the mistake that I made so I can move forward seeking not to make that mistake again? You see how these are two very, very, very different paths? When you take that path of light and compassion and seeking wisdom and knowledge from your life, from your experiences, it allows you to release. Because the lesson is here, and the lesson wants to be free. But if you hold on to this and you grip it, you'll never let go. If you grip onto something that happened, you can't let go of it. That might seem very simple, but somebody out there just had an aha moment where, and if it was you, tell me, where if you're holding on, this thing that happened, this person that did something, you're holding on to it, you're gripping onto it, how can you let go of it? You can't. It's not to say that bad things don't happen in this world. Of course they do. It's not to say that other people might be responsible for the things that they did. Of course they are. But now that it has happened, you're the only one responsible for how your life turns out for the next stage of life. And I've coached people through the worst of the worst circumstances. And this is always true, which is, yes, terrible things happen in this world. Bad things happen to good people all the time. And I understand, right? People get cheated on, people get, abused, people, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse. People, it happens. And my cat outside is going crazy. And if you allow yourself to sit in anger and bitterness and hatred, then it keeps what happened to you that much more real, and it keeps the wound wide open. We go through shame, we go through abandonment, we go through betrayal. These are very real wounds. But the only way to heal that wound is to nurture it, is to give it love, is to honor yourself, is to honor your relationships, is to be compassionate towards yourself, is to give yourself the nourishment and the care that you need. When you get a cut on your arm, you put a Band-Aid on it, right? We wouldn't keep it wide open. We nourish it, we heal it. And the way that we let go is to accept what happened, to not be at war with what happened. Because it happened. You can't change that. When you are at war with something, when you're frustrated about something, you aren't accepting that it happened to you, that it happened in your life. And when you do accept that it is part of your story, you lay down your swords, you lay down your armor, and you begin to heal. You begin to grow. You begin to expand. You begin to use that bad experience that happened to you to not only heal yourself, to gain knowledge from it, but also possibly to heal others, to understand others, to get closer to others that might have had the same thing happen to them. You can see that there are gold linings, silver linings, gold linings, platinum linings, diamond linings to be gained from terrible experiences. That good things can come out of them, and your job, your responsibility is to find the goodness within you, within your heart. to make a good thing come from something that might have had darkness. This is how you let go. And so if memories come in and you are assailed by emotions and thoughts, piece by piece, you work through them and you let them go. You come back to the present moment, here. What is happening here? What is happening right now? Not what is happening so long ago, but what is happening here. And Besma says, it seems difficult to let go and be tolerant in hard situations. It is. Terribly difficult. Not saying that this is easy. None of this stuff that I'm saying for you is, this is easy. But in order for you to move on, in order for you to take the next step, you have to be willing to accept the journey. And the journey promises challenge. And the journey promises growth and potential and joy and development if you choose to accept that journey. If you don't choose to accept that journey and you choose to stay in the same place that you are now, you'll get the same things that you're getting right now. And everyone wants to learn how to do something, and then when they get the answer to doing it, the next part of that is taking what you now know and putting it into action and applying that and taking that journey. And if you do take that journey, you will become who you were meant to become. And that is something that I have spent the past 8 years now doing, is accepting journeys, accepting challenges, and the experience of denying those journeys and denying those challenges and what both are like, because I know very well what it's like to deny myself the opportunity to move forward onto the journey that I know that I need to take. I know what that's like, and it's not a good feeling. I've done it in many ways, and I also know what it is like to step fully into something and to give it everything I've got. So I can tell you, Besma, once again, it's not about being at war with yourself or with your thoughts. It's not about being at war. When you are fighting, when you are battling, you're at war with something in the way that it is. If you stop being at war, if you stop battling, fighting, and you start actually surrendering to acceptance, that is when you move on. So I can tell you from personal experience and from having done this work with many others, is that when you end the war, when you move on, when you accept the journey forward into the way that it needs to be and accept the way that it was, that's when you let go. And that's when you make all of this space for moving forward and creating the life that you want. But you have to do the roll up the sleeves work first. And that's hard. It's challenging. I'm not going to just BS you and tell you that it's easy. It's not. We each have our own challenges, but good Lord, is it worth it? Very much so worth it. So if that is something that you're ready for, go get it. Go begin today. Start the plan, and you will find your way. I promise you that. You will find your way. And what a wonderful experience that will be. Who knows when it will be, but a wonderful experience that will be when you finally break through. You will come back to this video and you will say, Evan, you were right. You were right. It was difficult, it was hard, it was challenging, but it was the best thing that I have ever done with my entire life. And now I'm going to tackle something else too. I've been writing lately about my past experiences in life. And the reason why I think that I experienced so much at a young age, and really was battle tested in many different ways. And it's so I can show up here and talk to you. I believe that, truly, that's why I'm here. So, go out in there and get it. Accept the challenge. Step into it. Take the hero's journey. And see what can happen for you. See what can happen for your life. Answer the call, and you'll be fine. You'll be ready, and you can adapt and adjust along the way.